Someone says, "You look great today," and before they've even finished speaking, you're already explaining why they're wrong. "It's just the lighting. I barely slept. You should have seen me this morning." The compliment lasts 3 seconds. Your explanation lasts 30. Most people don't even notice they're doing it. Maybe you don't either. Someone appreciates you. You explain it away. Someone admires something about you. You make it smaller. Someone sees something good in you. And somehow, you're the only one in the conversation who doesn't. Why? Why is it sometimes easier to believe criticism than kindness? Why can one negative comment stay in your mind for years, while a genuine compliment disappears before the day is over? It doesn't usually look dramatic. Most of the time, it looks ordinary. A nervous laugh, looking away, changing the subject, pointing out your mistakes before anyone else can. Someone says, "That presentation was amazing," and before you can simply receive it, you're already listing everything that went wrong. Someone tells you, "You're such a good friend," and instead of feeling appreciated, a thought quietly appears. "If they really knew me, they probably wouldn't think that." It's strange, because the people who struggle most to accept compliments are often the same people who work the hardest to earn them. They try harder, give more, care more, achieve more. Not because they're selfish, not because they crave attention, but because somewhere deep down, they're still looking for proof. Proof that they're enough. Proof that they're worthy. Proof that they deserve the kindness they so easily give to everyone else. Maybe you've experienced something similar. You spend weeks working on a project. You stay late. You fix problems nobody else sees. You finally finish it. Your manager congratulates you. Your coworkers tell you that you did an incredible job. You smile. You say thank you. Then later that night, lying in bed, you don't think about what went well. You replay the one awkward moment, the one mistake, the one thing you wish you'd done differently, and somehow, that becomes the thing that feels most true. At some point, many of us learned something without ever being taught directly. We learned that approval follows performance, that being useful feels safer than having needs, that being impressive feels safer than being ordinary, that love feels more secure when it's earned, and after a while, worth stops feeling like something you have. It starts feeling like something you must constantly prove. So when a compliment arrives, it doesn't arrive alone. It arrives carrying questions. Do they really mean it? What if they're just being nice? What if they expect more from me now? What if they're seeing someone I'm not? Because accepting a compliment isn't just accepting a kind word. It's accepting the possibility that something good about you might actually be true. And that can feel surprisingly vulnerable. If you believe you're talented, you might disappoint people later. If you believe you're lovable, someone might leave. If you believe you're enough, you might make a mistake tomorrow. So doubt begins to feel safer. At least doubt is familiar. At least doubt doesn't ask you to trust something you could lose. And without realizing it, you become better at earning appreciation than receiving it. You probably call it humility now, but maybe it started as protection. Protection from disappointment. Protection from rejection. Protection from hoping for something beautiful and losing it later. So instead, you learned to keep your distance. Not from other people, from your own worth. Close enough to chase it, never close enough to feel it. And that's exhausting. Because no amount of praise can fill a space that refuses to believe it belongs there. You can collect achievements, collect validation, collect approval, and still feel unconvinced. Because every compliment must pass through the same quiet filter. Are you sure? Maybe that's why some compliments stay with us. Not because they were especially beautiful, but because they touched a part of us that still doesn't fully believe them. And if a compliment immediately makes you uncomfortable, maybe the compliment isn't the interesting part. Maybe the interesting part is what inside you refuses to accept it. Maybe that's why the hardest compliment to accept isn't the one coming from someone else. Maybe it's the one you would have to give yourself. Not, "I'm perfect." Not, I have everything figured out. Just, maybe I'm allowed to be enough before I prove it. The real question isn't, how do I get better at accepting compliments? The real question is, what would happen if you stopped treating your worth as something that had to be earned? Maybe one day someone will tell you, you're kind, you're talented, you matter. And instead of explaining, instead of minimizing, instead of searching for reasons they're wrong, you'll simply pause, take a breath, and let the words stay. Not because you've become perfect, but because you're finally willing to consider the possibility that your value was never something you had to prove in the first place. And maybe before you leave today, ask yourself, what compliment feels hardest to believe about yourself? Because the answer might reveal something important about the way you've been seeing yourself all along.